Welcome. You're listening to The Best of Investing. I'm your host, Edward Brown. Our email is edward@bestofinvesting.com. Use that email to answer the trivia questions for a 5-pack tanning certificate given away during this show. And that certificate is sponsored by Tan Bella Tanning Salon with 2 locations in San Francisco and 1 in Marin. Today, we do have a special guest, Christopher McCrickard from Birch Circle Movers. And today we're going to be talking about the moving industry, not the movie industry, but the moving industry. And one of the reasons I wanted to have Christopher on is because I got to say, I've used twice, 2 different times now. I've used Birch Circle Movers over the last like 10 years. And mostly it hasn't been from moving from one house to another, but it's been within our household. And I got to say, the one thing I've really appreciated is the professionalism and courtesy that your employees have, Christopher. So thank you very much. Because, I'll just tell you from a consumer standpoint, when you have people come into your house, be they housekeepers, movers, or whatever, you always get a little bit funny about, are people casing the joint? I mean, I've had like plumbers come in and go, "Hey, this is a really nice house," and it's like, yeah, don't say that, just do your work and be on, go on. And so I have to say that the 2 guys that you sent for us to do some internal moving were extremely. I could not give them higher praises. So thank you for that.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Ed. I'm very driven by culture. I think that with the right attitude, any job is a little easier. Our job's not easy. What we do, couches downstairs, can get pretty difficult. But with the right attitude, you can provide, I don't want to say a level of trust, but a level of comfort, knowing that you're dealing, again, like you said, with professionals. And so I am very culture driven, and I'm very proud that my guys provided what we live by, which is an unmatched service. We want to be different.
What I didn't tell you before was Edward Brown. When I was 19 years old, I used to work for a local company called Westland TV, and we used to move TVs. And back then, there were big consoles. I mean, these things weighed hundreds of pounds, and sometimes we had to go up 3 flights of stairs. So I have an appreciation for the guys in the moving industry. And in fact, just as a quick little story, my father-in-law was a truck driver, and then he started doing some moving, the 18-wheeler across and that poor guy, he had an accident where he was hoisting up about 4,000 pounds worth of stuff, and the rope broke and hit him on the back, and it put him in a wheelchair. Yeah,
Yeah.
It was tough.
The risk we take as a mover are high. We have a training regimen that protects the guys, teaching them how to lift and understanding that people are more important than property. And if you are in any kind of danger, to go ahead and let that property do whatever it's going to do to protect yourself.
Sure.
You don't want to let a safe fall on you because you want to protect the client's safe. We'll get them a new safe. Let's protect them.
That's a good point. Well, plus, nowadays they have those certain straps like for refrigerators and stuff. I mean, it's amazing how it makes the moving industry so much easier. So let's get into this for a minute. So first of all, how long has Birch Circle Movers been around?
We've been around for 22 years. 22 years. Well, once upon a time, years and years and years ago, the company was actually a river rafting guide. And then it's a very interesting transition. But with the trucks that they had, they transitioned into a moving company, which has been about 22 years. And some of the people that work for us to this day were with us the day that the company started. So we have some 20-year plus veterans that have just strictly worked for Birch Circle. We take a lot of pride in that.
That says a lot about your culture.
Yeah, it's all and loyalty to them as well as loyalty to the company, and if we're all driving in the same direction, it's a little easier to get to where we're going.
Right. Well, let's start off with this. Let's talk about the seasonal highs and lows.
Yeah. So in the moving industry, and some people would say this is obvious, but a lot of people like to move in the summer. Their kids are not in school. It's a little easier to schedule things around, and So summertime, I would call peak season May to about October-ish. And then, November to February, sometimes March and April can be a little light. It's cold, it's rainy, people don't want to move their couch out of their home in the rain, so they a little less likely to book movers to come and take care of business. But
Right.
yeah, it's ever changing. There's some years where the peak season is heavier, and some years it's lighter. This year we did experience a lull due to the increase in interest for homeowners or
Okay.
home purchase.
Also,
They
I mean, you're in California, so
yeah,
theoretically, we don't have as much of the problems as Iowa, let's say.
yeah, no, absolutely. And but yeah, so we do have highs and lows, and they're pretty common, and it's all about preparation, understanding that in the winter months we should have some kind of savings or something tucked away. A rainy day fund is what I like to call it, because that's exactly what it is. And so we can still provide our employees just the opportunity to take care of their families and feed their kids and pay their rents. We're all in this together, so we want to make sure that we're in a position to take care of them, even if the business isn't in a position to take care of us. It's
Well,
kind of the way I've perceived
good.
it.
Also
Yeah.
what I appreciate, the fact that you've been in business for so long, it says a lot because you never, you always feel uncomfortable about, a company that's only been around, and, everyone's got to start somewhere. We know that, and you have to build up the reputation. But, if you hire some company that it's been around for like 2 weeks and you're moving stuff, I mean, do you guys move across country stuff too, or you
Oh,
just,
yeah, well, we don't cross state lines, but we will go from the top of the state to the bottom of the state. I
okay.
just recently went to Palm Springs and did a delivery personally. So we definitely get in the truck and drive a distance. We're not crossing state lines yet, but we
Yeah.
would love to do that in the future. But yeah, to kind of bounce off what you said with having movers that have only been in business for 2 weeks, I would say for sure that's a red flag. But one of the biggest things that we deal with, being a long tenured company that is fully licensed and insured, is competing with those that are not licensed and insured.
Yeah.
And a lot of movers, they'll create these companies or the illusion of a company, and it will be
Mhm.
a group of independent contractors that are using like a U-Haul or something
Yeah.
along those lines, which then puts a lot of risk and liability on the client. And I would like our clients and customers to feel like we're all in this together, just like I would like my crew members and my sales staff, and we're all in this together to accomplish the goal. But yeah, it's difficult because there are a lot of I don't want to use the term shady, but there are a lot of movers out there that aren't being 100% honest with their tactics as far as marketing and sales.
So even though their prices will be lower because they don't have all the extra workers' comp and all that kind of stuff, all they have to do is make one big mistake: either A, steal your furniture, or break a bunch of stuff and say, "Oh, we did we tell you we have insurance? No, we don't have that." And then it's
Yeah.
like, then what do you do? And then your homeowner's insurance may or may not cover it. So, that is a big risk. Before we get to our break for the first trivia question, how do people get a hold of you? We'll give you a chance to let people know a couple of times. How do people get a hold of you if they want to hire a
I
person?
mean, we definitely communicate via social media because that's the age that we live in now. So you can follow us on Instagram and Facebook with Birch Circle Movers. Simple as that. And then you can give us a call here at the office. We do a lot of our sales directly over the phone. We're very handshake driven. So we like to meet our clients. We want to come visit the home, see what you got going on. So you can always swing by the office or give us a call. We're very open that way, open-ended that way. So that's 4238 Redwood Highway in San Rafael. And the phone number is 415-672-3574.
All right, we're going to ask our first trivia question here. And again, as a reminder to Christopher, if you know the answer, don't say anything quite yet. Which nut is actually a seed from a tropical fruit and often mistaken for a nut? All right, email Edward at bestofinvesting.com. Excuse me, the answer to that question. First email that we receive with the correct answer, we're going to send out that certificate, which is worth about $100 to Bella Tanning Salon. All right, let's also go back to this. Talk about the morale and culture. Now, you talked a little bit about it, the fact that you take care of your employees.
Well, absolutely. You meant, and just to relate off what you said, when you have strangers come into your home, it does create a level of, I don't like to use the phrase paranoia, but that's what it is. A little paranoid about the characters that are in your home. So with us, I've always believed we don't do independent contractors. Everybody goes through a rigorous interview process and a training process, and My goal is to provide, what's the best word I want to use here, Ed? My goal is to provide a comfortable experience that can be remembered by the client and not so much subordinates who are there to just do a job. We're very approachable, where we're willing to have conversations. Obviously, that won't get in the way of us completing our goals or our work, but very open, very honest, very full of integrity and just the ability to communicate. I like that. I like the idea that when I walk into your home as a mover, it's okay for the client and one of my employees to talk football or the Raiders or the 49ers or whatever the case may be. I like that for them because it creates an environment of comfort and then helps them to understand that we are professionals. We are not independent contractors. We're not just some lumpers from wherever. These guys have gone through a rigorous training program and, like I said, an interview process. So in doing that, I don't want to say I established attitude or characteristics, but I'm a very motivated individual. So I look for that in others. I look for motivation. What drives you? What are the things that are going to wake you up tomorrow and push you to be a better version of yourself today, tomorrow, and the day after that? So during the interview process, I like to communicate and talk to my potential employees to get a better understanding of the man rather than the effort. I think the effort will show itself, but the character walking into individuals' homes, strangers' homes every day, I can't, in my opinion, just hire whoever. I like to make sure that I hire individuals that can relate and understand what our culture's driving, which is, yeah.
No, very, very good. In fact, again, that's why I hired you twice.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's probably the best thing is repeat and referrals. Okay. First of all, our first trivia question: which nut is actually a seed from a tropical fruit and often mistaken for a nut? What do you think the answer is, Christopher?
I'll be honest, I'm not a big nut guy, so when you said that to me, I started going through all the tropical plants, and I thought, oh man, I think I'm stumped. I think I'm stumped, Ed.
Cashew.
Really?
Yeah, it's actually a seed, not a not a nut. I know. I thought that was really strange. Okay, all right. So
That was a good trivia question.
Edward Brown is going to ask another trivia question here. Edward Brown. Edward Brown is going to ask another trivia question here, and then we'll answer a little bit later. Which leafy green is often called a superfood for its high nutrient content? Okay, which leafy green is often called a superfood for its high nutrient content? And personally, I don't like this. That doesn't give you a hint. I'm just making a comment there. Hey, okay, I have to give a quick little silly joke of the week. So where do bad rainbows go? To Prism. Now it's a light sentence, but it gives them time to reflect. I think that's kind of cute. That's one of those cute dad.
That's exactly where my mind went.
That's okay. All right. So now let's talk about concepts and procedure.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened there. So concepts and procedures. So I've went to many master movery summits. There's these big conventions where you meet up with all kinds of moving owners and everyone talks. And when there's a presentation by a gentleman by the name of Louis Massaro, and one of his goals in any moving company, he says, is to have process, policy, and procedure. So basically what I like to do is it's a group effort. I speak with my crew and I tell them, what do you think would be best? Do you think we should have them sign forms before? And I work with them and then I create the process in the background, implement, and then execute. I believe that consistency is key in this industry. If you do the same thing every time, it's very difficult to not necessarily make mistakes because everyone does that, but it's consistency is the key to excellence. If you do it every time the same exact way, then all you're doing is practicing for tomorrow. So I am a process-driven individual. I believe that if you are willing, capable, and able, and given a proper direction, then you can accomplish any goal outside of moving, whatever it may be. So when I first came onto the company here, that was one of my primary goals, was to develop and create processes for my crew so they can hold themselves accountable, the customer accountable when needed, and the company accountable when needed. If we stay consistent, then everybody has a role, and in that role, we can hold ourselves accountable to our responsibilities. So in the moving industry, excuse me, Edward, I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's all right. Well, I like that. Okay, let me answer the trivia question on this one, and we'll go to the next one. And I got more stuff to talk about. Which leafy green is often called a superfood for its high nutrient content? What do you think?
So this time I actually might know, but I don't think I do. I'm gonna say wheatgrass. That stuff you get from Jamba Juice.
That would have been a very good guess. It's not right, but it would have been a very good guess. But you're kind of close, in my opinion. Kale.
Okay. Oh, yeah. Close.
All
Close.
right.
That's all right.
All right, here's our third trivia question. Which luxury fashion brand has a logo with two interlocking C's? All right, that's our trivia
Oh, I know.
question. All right, hold on, don't say anything yet. Email Edward at,
Nope.
at bestofinvesting.com the answer to that trivia question. The first email we receive with the correct answer wins the tanning certificate from Tan Bella Tanning Salon. All right, I do want to make a mention here also for Mountain Mike's Pizza in San Rafael. Pizza the way it ought to be. I tell you, you get one of their large pepperoni pizzas, you're going to find so many pepperonis in there, you're not going to believe it. Excellent pizza, Mountain Mike's Pizza in San Rafael. Also want to make a mention here for the Tahoe Lakeshore Lodge and Spa. It provides guests with an all lakefront hotel in South Lake Tahoe, where every lodge room and condominium has a view of the lake and the mountains. Enjoy fewer crowds and the fall leaves at Tahoe Lakeshore Lodge and Spa in beautiful Lake Tahoe, where it is the perfect time to be hiking. Yeah, it's getting a little colder, so you may want to be looking at snow, but that's okay. A little skiing, call 800-448-4577 or go to TahoeLakeshoreLodge.com to make your reservations today. All right, let's see. Let's get on to profit versus expense. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so and that's with any business, right? So with movers, the profit margins can fluctuate depending upon the job, and a lot of that deals with claims. Of course, no one's perfect in this world, and when there are claims, we do take a high level of responsibility to make sure that our clients are taken care of. So that could affect the profitability dramatically. And you know, we're not, I don't want to say we're the highest paying moving company in Marin County, because I don't know that to be true, but we take care of our guys. So the profit margins at time can be a little slim if we move into overtime hours and things of that nature. So it's I don't want to say it's a hit or miss, because it's once we get pretty consistent, things can really develop, and we see a lot of black ink. Moving into the winter months, obviously our opportunity for profit slims just based on our job count, but
Sure.
it slims even more if we experience claims, and it's even more if we experience an injury. If there's always a liability and risk to any business. So sometimes it can get pretty thin, I don't want to say razor thin, but it can get very thin with the profit margins in months like these.
Well, let me ask you let me ask you about the claims for just a minute. Are there times when because you have insurance, that you'll choose not to put it through the insurance company because the claim's small enough you don't want your premiums to go up?
Yes, that is
Yeah.
definitely an option. I wouldn't say it's our first option, but it's definitely an option. We have multiple handymen and furniture repairs and, tradesmen is what I like to call. But we have a lot of tradesmen that are able to help us fix minor issues. You know, a small dent in the corner, maybe the wall got hit with a dresser and there's a small hole that needs to be patched, things like that. Bigger issues, of course, we would go through our insurance depending upon the cost. I'd say anything under 2,000, normally we try to take care of ourselves. We feel that we're responsible. We care about our clients. We want them to know that we care about them as well. The insurance process can be a tedious one, so it can take a long time. And I'd hate to put anyone through that if we can avoid it. Claims at this point, I would say we do about 750 moves a year, and we experience maybe 10 to 15 claims in that time. Some claims can be any. Yeah, which is to me statistically
That's pretty good.
it's not bad.
Less than
Some of them
2,500.
are $40, Edward. Some of them are 4,000. So it's very
I
circumstantial
mean,
and
things are going to happen. It's impossible, especially if you're doing, from Northern California to Southern California, be hit potholes, all kinds of stuff that's just not. And even though you shrink wrap stuff, things just happen, and stuff is very fragile. And you do the best you can. Things just happen. I get it. Let's answer our third trivia question, and I want to go back to a couple of things here. So which luxury fashion brand has a logo with two interlocking C's?
Well, as a single parent to 3 girls, I think this will be easy for me to say that should be Coach, if I'm not mistaken.
Actually, it's Chanel.
Yes, I was wrong. My kids are gonna love that. Chanel. Okay. You
What's your
said
good one, though? I mean,
yeah, and my kids are gonna love that I was wrong for that one. Oh, this is gonna be good. So,
yeah, we're gonna have to go shopping for a lot of Chanel now, so that you can see them.
yeah, yeah.
All
Now
right.
they're gonna say I owe them one.
Okay.
Mm-mm.
Before we get on to our next topic here, again, I want to give the audience a chance to write your information down so that in case they have any moving concerns, be it even stuff like, again, with our situation, there was just some heavy furniture that we needed help with between my wife and me. It just wasn't going to happen. So, it's not just that you need a moving company, for just, oh, gee, we're moving a whole household. So give out your information, Christopher.
So again, our phone number, which is, probably the best way to reach us, would be 415-672-3574. You can follow us on social media at Instagram and Facebook under Birch Circle Movers. And you can reach us via email, and that is a little different, but it's info@alwaysonthemove.net.
I
And
like
to
that.
bounce off what you said, we definitely provide a whole bunch of different services. We work with interior designers. We do
Yeah.
dump runs. We do Christmas pickups. So some
Hmm.
people have all of their Christmas things in storage. We'll run by their storage, grab it all, bring it over to their home, help set up their tree, and that's
Oh,
just yeah, small slices of what we're available for. And like for yourself, you get a really heavy dresser that needs to go upstairs. We are more than willing to send a couple guys over there and take care of that for you.
no, that was good. I didn't even think about the Christmas situation, in storage and getting it all set up and stuff. That's good. Very, very good. I like that. All right, let's. We got just a couple more things to go over here. Talk about overhead.
Well, that can get a little costly. We have a fairly large warehouse here, so obviously you have your standards, your rent, your PG&Es, your bills and such, but that insurance can get a little costly in our industry. I would say that's probably our largest overhead is the insurance. And we don't file as many claims because obviously, like I mentioned earlier, anything under 2,000 we'll take care of ourselves. So we've been able to maintain, but as far as overhead is concerned, I think it really does just boil down to truck maintenance and rent and insurance costs. Those are the three biggest overheads that we have.
So, and I know that you guys, if you have, like you said, if you have big storage, so sometimes what happens is people want to move, but they can't quite get all their stuff into the new place, and so they'll ask you to store it probably in your warehouse,
Yep.
and that's probably an extra charge. Is it? It's probably, I would think, cost effective for the homeowner to have you store it rather than rent out a storage facility, put it all there, and then take it back out again and send it somewhere else. So
Yeah.
how long generally would be, a fair amount of time, like a week, for people to store stuff in your storehouse?
Oh, so we've had people that have been in our storage facility for 10 years. We have somebody that's been here since the 90s. Yeah, as a couch came in '99 and it's been moved around a lot because our business has only been around for so long, but the storage rolled over to us and we have a client from '99, but your average time frame, I would say 3 months to 6 months, and that's just your short-term storage option. Some people will bring all their belongings into us for vacation, and they'll go and take off for 2 months and then come back and say, hey, can you bring all my stuff back? Because they have a fear of theft or a fear
Yeah.
of, fire, whatever it may be.
How generally can you talk about how expensive that is to store it in your facility?
We have an 8 by 8 by 11 volt. It's a wooden crate, and it's $100 a month per volt. And then we have storage space racking systems in place for couches, anything that won't fit in that volt. But it's $100 per volt per month, and we have a full-time warehouse manager who, like, at any point, if you're like, hey, I need to get into my vault, he'll pull that thing down, open it up for you, and work with you to find whatever you're looking for. Or we do an inventory, a very thorough inventory, so we know everything that comes into the warehouse. So let's say, Edward, you had a vault with me and you called and said, hey, I need to get my gray couch or my gray chairs.
Yeah.
I would say, oh, well, that's in vault number 7. Let me go pull it, have it down, you come by, will help you out with your chairs. Maybe they load them in there.
Yeah. That's something I didn't think that you guys did. I mean, I'm glad that you're telling the audience that because I don't know if you know this. You probably didn't. I used to own I was a part owner of a storage facility in Berkeley. We had a
Oh,
couple.
cool.
Yeah, it was a pretty large one actually, and I was just thinking, 8 by 8 by 11. I mean, $100 a month. That's actually very reasonable
Yeah.
for the.
Yeah, unfortunately, and I say unfortunately only because of inflation. We did have to increase our prices recently, which at one point in time I believe it was $80 a month, and that was about 2 years ago. But inflation happened, so the cost did go up. But I agree with you. I think it is cost effective. It's not overly expensive, and it's full service. It's very well protected. It's secure. It's accessible if need be. And we have at this point we have 125 volts. I would say we're about 70% capacity, and
Oh, okay.
we have another 30 completely dedicated to interior designers who
Oh,
they send in a $20,000 couch, and our warehouse manager inspects it, wraps it, preps it, and then puts it away until it's time to take it to the home. So our
that's
storage is that is a high revenue stream for us, to be completely honest with you,
yeah.
Edward.
Oh,
We
that's great because especially during the winter months when things are a little thinner, that you have that income coming in, and then generally speaking, if people are going to use you as a storage facility, people don't move stuff all the time. It's like you
Yeah,
just let it sit there, and especially
yeah,
if it's only $100 a month, it's like just do that.
yeah.
Let's talk about referrals and reputation.
Okay. So referrals and reputation in the moving industry, in my opinion, are everything. That is everything. When
Mhm.
you when you get a 5-star review, which we've been doing pretty good with lately, I asked the crew to start asking, and we're starting to get a whole bunch of them. But when you get a 5-star review, it carries a lot of weight, the same amount of weight as a 1-star review.
Yeah.
So I've always believed that, like I said earlier, it's about providing service and something or an attitude of comfort, understanding, and making things seamless. We have a good reputation. We are definitely one of the best. I consider ourselves to be the best movers in Marin when it comes to professionalism and approachability. We are willing to communicate and conversate and explain every single detail of your move, from the sales guy to operations to the crew, because we want you to be involved. So that in and of itself will build a reputation, but it's word of mouth that is going to take that reputation and make it valuable. So the referrals is really, really important to us. We always make a call. I wouldn't say always. In most circumstances and situations, we call and just ask how things went. How did it go? Was there anything that you think we could have done better? Is there any way that we could have provided a better or more seamless service? And I, again, like to bring them in, the customer or client, because we're all in this together. So in doing so, it does open up the opportunity for them to share their true feelings, which then can be turned into, I don't want to say a 5-star review, but it can be turned into a review, which then can be turned into more reputation. And the hope would be that they call their cousin, uncle, brother, sister,
Exactly.
friends, and just say, hey, these guys, like you said, Edward, these guys are trustworthy and they are approachable, and they were a pleasure to have in my home. That goes a long way in the moving.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, a lot of people, they may not go as far as writing a review per se, but people talk at cocktail parties where, oh, I just, are there any movers you trust? That sort of thing. That happens a lot.
Yeah,
Again,
yeah, yeah.
if you're careful to do that. So why don't you give out your information one more time?
All right. So 415 672 3574 is our phone number, which we are open Monday through Friday from 7 to 5. And you could find us at 4238 Redwood Highway here in San Rafael. So we are local to the Marin County area. And you can follow us on social media, either Facebook or Instagram, on Birch Circle Movers. And finally, our email address would be info@alwaysonthemove.net.
Very good. Okay. Uh, Here's our thoughts for the day. Uh, Brain cells die, skin cells die, even hair cells die. But fat cells must have accepted Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior because they seem to have eternal life. And and sometimes I just want someone to hug me and say, I know it's hard. You're going to be okay. Here's some chocolate and $6 million. Yeah, I'm waiting for that one. All right. It's tune in next week to the Best of Investing. We're going to be giving away more free prizes for answering trivia questions. Thanks for listening. On behalf of our team, I'm Edward Brown, wishing you the best of investing. So long.